Very cool. I will be getting to your calls, guys. I am James Hake. This is the Hake Report. It is 9:01 a.m. U.S. Pacific Daylight Time, Wednesday, May 12th, the year of our Lord, Anno Domini, AD 2021. And guys, I have quite a bit to cover for you with you guys, and I will be taking your calls, 888-775-3773. I have some hand-picked, as Tom New called it, torture music incoming. And no, I'm not late. Baby Hitler is not late. People call, my second favorite caller calls me Baby Hitler. I had to hang up on that guy. He was being rude. And I had to hang up on Tony, too. He was ridiculous. Although I was short on time, and he was just wasting time. But guys, I have another song from Over the Rhine, and I have a correction about the band name Over the Rhine. They are Christians, I guess, I think. And they are indeed a husband-wife duo. And plus other band members, right, who helped make it happen. Over the Rhine, here is a song, and I have two songs, one for the middle break, and one for I want to do How Long Have You Been Stoned by Over the Rhine. And I kind of like this song. I'm not sure I understand the message completely, but it's kind of about how people are not genuine, and on some drug or other, metaphorically speaking anyways, right? Because drugs are not the only drug. Am I right? Play some Pink Floyd, says Jay from Arizona. I don't know if I want to play Pink Floyd, but I do like them. That's cool. They're nice. Here is Over the Rhine. How long have you been stoned? Enjoy, and we'll be chatting. Very nice. 2003 from the album called Ohio. So good. So good. Over the Rhine is from Ohio, Cincinnati, Ohio. And there is a neighborhood called Over the Rhine. I didn't know it.
What's it like to be the only somebody in the room?
It's a German neighborhood, actually, Over the Rhine, because the Rhine River runs through Germany. So ignorant.
What does it cost you to be you?
How's the song volume for you guys? Press 1 for great volume. Press 2 for too loud. For it's drowning out your voice. Press 3 for too quiet. Press 4 for mute, please. But I'm not going to mute it. 4 is the protest vote. A little louder, I guess. Take Care Business Bear says louder. Is this that ironic song? Horbracoy and Wrestling Jesus both want it muted. So does Carol D. They are not advocating being stoned. Stoned means on drugs, high, impaired, not something that you want to be. Volume is good. I don't know about this song though, says Pablo. Crank it up, says BLA. Whatever, guys. So, guys, I have stuff to cover. Points about the Bible. Trump is sending out memos from his desk. Hake's music choices this week are decent. Not as bad as the African chant music, says Take Care Business Bear over there on Trovo. By the way, you guys can support via Trovo, if you can figure it out, or via Streamlabs. And somebody said, 5 for Crank It Up so Grandma can hear it. Somebody compared this to 90s music. And they were founded in 1989, this Over the Rhine band. I'm going to talk a little bit about Liz Cheney. Trump is talking about Liz Cheney and some other stuff that's going on bad. There is indeed an attack upon the South. Israel and Palestine fighting. There's some stupid virus rules that are in place around the world. The countries around the world are a big mess. A song that doesn't stink? What's wrong, Hake? Tom New asks. Hake only listens to women when they're singing, says Malkuth X. Funny. Memorial Day is coming up at the end of this month. Is there going to be a women's forum next week? I don't know. I think that's the third Thursday of the month coming up. I have a correction on a pronunciation of a word, of a name that I just heard yesterday, and some points about the Bible to talk about. And I have one line open, guys, 888-775-3773. But let's get right on with the show.
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
Hey, guys!
Oh,
What happened?
The Hake Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
So, how are you all doing? I am fine. This says, I'm getting a super chat from Based America First that says, gives me a tip about yesterday. There may have been an issue with yesterday's YouTube video title and description. Let me see. YouTube.com/The Hake Report. He's telling me that I may have mistitled it. You can give super chats, guys. Super chats. For some reason, my voice is hoarse all of a sudden. Streamlabs.com/The Hake Report. Based America First says, yesterday's YouTube video title and description paragraph indicate Monday, May 11th, when it was Tuesday, May 11th. Let me check. Oh, yeah. True. I put Monday, and it should have been Tuesday. I wonder how much I made that mistake. Thank you for the heads up, Based America First. Initial timestamp is correct. Thank you. So I'll fix that. Tuesday. Yeah, and I did call it Tuesday. Man, I wonder if I mistitled the podcast titles too. Let me check Podbean. But in the meantime, guys, appreciate the correction, Based America First. Fans and friends and supporters looking out for the Hake Report. Much appreciated. What a mess. Speaking of corrections, I completely overlooked the fact that this group, Over the Rhine, that I've been playing is somewhat Christian. They are Christians, I think. Their first album was actually called Till We Have Faces, which is a name of a book that I haven't read by that guy who's popular in the Christian world called C.S. Lewis, the late, perhaps great C.S. Lewis. I think he was great. C.S. Lewis, author of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, the Narnia series. They made some Narnia movies, live-action Narnia movies somewhat recently. And he wrote the books behind that inspired those movies, maybe like 100 years ago or less. James doesn't know what day it is because he was up all night. No, I was not. But Over the Rhine, when it's a hyphenated word, over-the-Rhine, like the Rhine River, it's named after a Cincinnati, Ohio neighborhood. I had no idea. And it was called that because there were a whole lot of German immigrants way back in the day. It's actually one of the largest, most intact urban historic districts in the United States, according to Wikipedia, which is always trustworthy. Am I right? Being a little bit sarcastic. Predominantly German immigrants developed the area in the mid-19th century. And if you look closely, I have two entries right here. Over the Rhine, the neighborhood, and Over the Rhine, the American, Ohio-based folk music band, I guess you would call them. Husband and wife team. Mostly. But they have awesome architecture. because it's like old and they paid attention to what they were doing. Very ornate. Very famous. And it's actually a pretty big neighborhood. Over the Rhine. There was a canal. There was a canal that was nicknamed the Rhine in reference to the Rhine River in Germany because there's a bunch of Germans who were living there. Über den Rhein. I don't know how to pronounce German, people. Some of you guys know better. Is Joseph Gerlich's German? Anyway, so that's a minor correction. It wasn't just a reference to Europe. It was indeed a reference to where they were founded. So, and you know what? Speaking of corrections, one more. I talked about this woman who supposedly signed the Declaration of Independence, who was being all promoted by these cringy pocket headlines. And I called her Mary Catherine Godard. Mary Catherine Godard. But somebody in my YouTube comment section, shout out, man, told me it's actually Godard. I assume that's what he was saying. Mary Catherine Godard. All right. I'm just glad my last name is Hake. Very simple. And yet people still call me Hockey, Hake, Hack, Hacker, Fake, and many other things. Goddard. Is it really? Goddard. Okay. I think Chris might be rolling his eyes at my trouble with pronouncing his name Goddard. 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 Okay. It looks like Godard to me. But I told my friend my new friend, my YouTube commenter, that I only know how to pronounce Mexican names and barely am I French. No, I'm not French, I don't think. I only know how to pronounce Mexican names, and those, again, barely. You heard me probably butcher one guy's last name a couple of days ago, and then some Chinese names maybe, or Vietnamese names. So, anyway, that's that. Some quick points about the Bible that I wanted to present to you. I have actually some, you might call them fun or cringy throwback clips from 2011, actually. December of 2011, between the Obamas and this evil, old, feminist female. Well, her feminism didn't exactly come out, but she is a feminist. She hates men. Barbara Walters interviewed the Barack and Michelle Obamas during their presidency every December, I guess. And in 2011, that's when Obama said that thing that we had a hard time finding the drop, but I found it. When he calls himself a softie. Stuff chokes me up very easily, he says. But I also have clips of Liz Cheney grandstanding, being a total phony. It's ridiculous. And honestly, all of the Republicans, it's the Rhino Party. It is the Rhino Party. There's James Hake win. James Hake Nguyen. Yes, Peter R. All of the Republicans are phony. It's ridiculous. But I'll get to that. I wanted to make some quick points about the Bible that I was talking about yesterday. Remember when I covered Romans 2, talking about judgment and how people have the law. God wrote his law on the hearts even of the Gentiles, so they don't, even though they've never read the so-called law, they still know it because God is God over everybody. So they know it naturally. And so they know when they're doing wrong, a little bit. And they naturally do what's right because they follow the law of their hearts. And because there was a guy who was calling people call every now and then, and they get this idea. People call the JLP show, sometimes they call my show, and they get the idea that the only way that you can know the truth is by way of the Bible, because that's the standard. It's such intellectual blind thinking. And it says we know the truth, about the law without the law. And people are saying things that the Bible doesn't even say about itself. Just kind of interesting. And it also reminded me of Maze, my favorite caller, Maze from Dayton, Ohio. She's always talking about God's law. And I try to pronounce it the way that she pronounces it. I'm exaggerating it a little bit. But Maze, talking about God's law, and what is she referring to? What, the Ten Commandments? I don't know. I don't exactly know. But the law is written on our hearts, and she supports women killing their babies in the womb. She does. Killing the father's children in the womb. What is God's law but what he wrote on our hearts? Never listen to the woman, I guess. True. Maze. So twisted. And that reminds me of this Liz Cheney woman. She's all grandstanding. And then she's going to be replaced, I guess, with Elise Stefanik, another woman, who's just another woman. What the heck? Wow, a Bible verse mentioned on the show, Roger That says. Wow, Roger That, you haven't been listening. Who finger painted on your shirt, James? Maze the dingbat. Wow. No, I frequently mention passages practically every week. Sometimes multiple times a week. But the other thing that I like about these disagreements and these discussions about the Bible and about vaccines, there's some people who disagree with me about vaccines, probably less so than they think. And people who disagree about Israel and Jewish people and all that stuff. And yet, that is a test and a temptation to overcome the blindness of judging and separating over disagreements that don't much matter like that, right? Because people tend to separate like crazy and write you off. Oh, this is my last. I saw one guy in the chat saying, oh, this is my last time listening to the JLP show. He supports Israel. Cringe. And I'm like, you're going to write him off over that? That means you got to check yourself. Check yourself. Beta Legs says, Hake, cool shirt. Where can a loser like myself find that? I am wearing, well, I don't know if I want to promote it, but this says outside, #outside. And it has a bunch of pictures of like camping gear. It has a match and flame. What else does it have? A lantern, a kettle, a Swiss Army knife, a Canadian maple leaf, a map, some hills, a hatchet, a flashlight, some fish hooks, some string and line, a bonfire, a compass, binoculars, and a teepee, and maybe a canoe or surfboard or whatever that thing is, and other things. And it's just drawings, and it is hot in here. Can we turn on the AC? I'm also expending energy by standing up a little bit. But I think I got it from REI. I know, I didn't know that REI was a bunch of communists. Is it true they're a bunch of communists? Makes me want to camp out. That's cool, Beta Leg. So I found it at REI, and it says #outside. I bought it 5 years ago, maybe, give or take. So anyway, Boogaloo t-shirt? No! Although I've heard that the Boogaloo boys have been falsely smeared. I wouldn't be surprised. Am I right? I don't know. Let me get to a call quickly. Robert in Kansas wants to respond to Dylon's call. Yesterday, Chad, also known as Dylon, called into my show, my former de facto producer, and he made a point about race that it's wrong for these boomers to say, and it's actually dangerous for these boomers to say that there's only one race, the human race, because that leads to the notion that we should all be diverse and let all these people invade our country. People are invading our country. And in Hake News, I called them invaders in sheep's clothing. Because that's what they are. These are not honest people that we need to be bringing into the country. And yet we're bringing them in. And they say, oh, I am applying for asylum. They're exploiting shenanigans in our laws that are contrary to the interests of our country. And honestly, their own interests, too. Because it's not good for people to be spoiled by a country spoiling them. Is it? No, it's not. So anyway, what's his name? JLP says it's not about color, but he also says if we lose white people as a majority of the country, it's over for America. Because whites are the only ones standing in the way of America being turned into hell. Total hell. You know what I mean? Because everybody else is supporting communism. So anyway, Robert in Kansas wants to respond to Dial-On. Robert, thank you for holding, man. How are you doing?
Hey, no problem. You got to me pretty quick, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Did you ask me how I was doing? I'm doing good, man. Getting back into training, back into a schedule of actually working out and doing what I should be doing. So
did the shutdowns affected your workout schedule?
No, I was already pretty much shut down before the shutdowns, Hake. So, what affects my schedule is being lazy and not getting up in the morning and doing what I need to do.
You and Obama, both lazy. Well, good, man. I'm glad to hear that you're turning a corner on that. That's cool.
Yeah, Obama, the Jewish man, right?
He might be on one side, huh? Oh man.
When you look at his mama,
ideologically he is. Not the Christian friendly kind either. His mother is.
Yeah, he legalized gay marriage, and I'm like, people tell me he's Muslim. I'm like, you think a Muslim legalized gay marriage, guys? Are you serious? Okay. Anyway.
Right.
Yeah, but I've been working out, Hake, in case we got to fight at the men's conference, right? In case we get into it.
Or in case you want to defend me from Antifa at the men's conference.
Oh, yeah, I guess that'd be weird. Maybe, we have that kind of relationship where...
Yeah, you'd be my bodyguard.
Like the enemy of my enemy is my friend, yeah?
Right.
Yeah, I guess I can see that. We had to fight Antifa before we could fight. Yeah.
Right.
I was going to send Jesse, the idea of building a network, I was going to send him an audition video. And the name of the show is called It's the Jews with Rob in Kansas.
Wow.
And
amazing.
It's like an hour-long show where I just talk about how, like, the Jews, and anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, so to the point, hey, and I want to get to some of the current issues, too, if we have time. But this race thing, this is a real easy thing to talk about, right? Race. But it is brought up on the show, and it does need to be talked about. So I'm glad I think Tony called in talking about that whites were made by blacks in a lab.
Yeah, that's what Farrakhan had said years ago, and so maybe Tony thinks the same thing. Maybe one of those Tonys thinks the same thing on the JLP show.
I'm not offended by it, maybe because I think it's so funny. Like, I think it's so funny that I can't, I don't know, I'm just not offended by it.
Right.
Thinking about blacks, making, and then I try to switch it around, too, where I'm like, okay, what if you say whites made black people? That just sounds so insane, too, that,
Right.
I do think it's hilarious. But, yeah, at least he's thinking about it. He has a theory. He's actually been thinking about it. Most people never even think about things, Hake. So where I come at it from is from an academic setting. When I was in college, I was an anti-evolutionist, okay?
Yeah.
And so evolution is the underpinning for a lot of things, including race for most people, especially in academic circles that discuss these sorts of things, anthropologists, stuff like that. They see black people, and they won't really admit this in the front of the classroom, but a lot of these PhDs and these people, these professors, they think what black people are is basically like an underdeveloped evolution, like some people who have not evolved as much as maybe the other races have. That's truly how they see them.
I know.
If they're going to be honest about
That's
it.
how they
And
act. That's how they make policies about them too.
Well, when you corner them in their office and you're talking about something that they challenge you on in class and you make them answer, that's what they actually believe.
Right.
And so for me, I'm an anti-evolutionist, right? So I say that evolution is completely fake. I think God made everything. So then you lose that underpinning of evolution, and then you have to explain race on top of that, right? So in an academic circle, they start pressing you in ways where you have to defend your theory. And Dylon is doing this work where he's thinking about it. He's using evolution as an underpinning as well. But for me, Hake, what I decided eventually is that what mankind did is when we got into the tropics, we were able to interbreed with other primate groups, and that's where we get the other races from. And so that's what my theory is.
My thing is, why even get into this stuff that no one really knows?
Well, no one does know. Hey,
leave it as an I don't know.
Well, just know that you'll be pressed into conversation if the certain.
I know, but
people,
if I'm pressed,
okay.
I'll just say I don't know, and honestly, neither do you.
Well, you have to develop any sort of theory. You have to have your own working theory in terms of what you think happened, right?
No, you don't have to.
Okay, Hake, you don't have to, but you're a freaking talk show host, bro. I mean, you gotta.
I'm a talk show host, but I don't like to make stuff up.
Well, if you're going to talk about issues of sex, you're going to have to develop those theories about women. Issues of race. You're going to have to know where you're coming from on things, Hake. And these are important, difficult issues. It's hard to talk about. So I'm glad that you do. I'm glad about Dylon. I'm glad about Tony. And I just think, the way it does play into things, Hake, is a spiritual war, the way that Jesse and you always say. You heard the term as below, so above, or so below, as above. You're seeing physical manifestations of the spiritual war. So anti-man, no matter what race you are, that's the biggest one, because that's the first
Very
divide.
true.
That's the first divide in the physical space between male and female. So they want female leadership because the female is weak and incompetent, and Satan can manipulate them and get them to do things that they couldn't get men to do. And so, you think talking about race is hard. Talk to a room full of women about how they shouldn't have rights because it destroys society.
Right.
Okay, that conversation is even more hard. But yeah, having these conversations, like you have to develop, where you're coming from on grounds of evidence and grounds of your argument.
Right, grounds of evidence, not grounds of theory. So, Robert, do you have a job? Makes me wonder, because you said that you're lazy and just getting into working out again, and you working?
Well, I have to work to
nice.
to make money, Hake. So you got to do what I got to do. I don't want to say exactly.
Yeah, I don't want you to necessarily say what you do. I was just wondering about it.
I'm into health and wellness and
right
being physically and mentally well, which maybe I sought out for my own reasons. But
true.
Yeah, man. So yeah, I'm really glad that that's being talked about, and I hope Dylon and Tony call in. And Tony, I don't think you guys made us in a lab, man. I mean, you guys have a lot of struggles over in Africa, and you think that you just went into a lab one day and made us? I mean, you're talking about making a whole people.
Right.
Dang. And then Dylon, he's stuck on evolution, and I don't know if you can pull him off of that, Hake, but that would be the only advice towards him is I would say, you got to decide if you believe in that. And if you do, that's fine. Obviously, that's what they teach us, guys. But, I think what they teach us, Hake, in school is mostly just to deny God. I think that's really what it is.
Yeah. I appreciate it, Robert. It's good to hear from you.
But like you say, Hake, don't talk about theory. Is evolution a theory, or is it a hard fact, right?
It's not a hard fact. And neither is the notion that we interbreeded with other primates. But anyway, man.
If you say evolution isn't there, then you have to defend that. But hey, do you want to talk about the pipeline or about Israel, about anything like that?
We'll talk more later in the week, man. Appreciate it, Robert.
All right, brother.
Good to hear from you.
Y'all have a good day.
All right. Take care. More evolved, says Lin Yen-chin, just means more changed. Unlike the genetic colloquial misrepresentation, which makes most believe it means more developed toward the end progression of civilization. Yeah, that's very true. Women, hippies, and others confused continuously pretend evolved means matured. It doesn't. Yeah, that's very true. Most mutations are bad for you. Did you know that? They handicap you. You don't mutate to become improved for the most part. Unless it's a virus. The mutations are improved at killing people, supposedly. Allegedly. I don't know about the virus mutations here. You know what I mean? Most of the time, it is something, you lose something. Interesting. That's just what I heard anyway. It looks like I got a super chat. Lin Yen-chin says on trovo.live/The Hake Report, please tell Obama, Nasty Pelosi, I think, Oprah, Kamala Harris, and the rest to stop wiretapping you guys. Ain't nobody got time for their clicking noises. Have Billy put up his black privilege force fields. Oh, yeah. Well, I don't like hearing clicking sounds on our phone lines. I don't like that. I agree. So, the lines are full, guys. Hang tight. I got to show this to you. We were hunting for like 5 minutes for these drops of Obama saying, I'm a softie. Stuff chokes me up very, very easily. And sure enough, it was indeed it was actually ABC News, I guess, interview. Conducted by this feminist woman named Barbara Walters. And so I have some cringy clips from these interviews. And Barbara Walters is asking all these female questions of Barack and Michelle Obama in 2011. This is during their first term. Nearing the end, it's kind of the equivalent of 2019 or something like that. Can you imagine, if you're listening to this, imagine seeing Trump sitting next to Melania. Melania is holding Trump's hand. And Trump is being all with this goofy grin, something eating grin, looking silly. Nope, Trump wouldn't do that. Obama does that. I have several of these, or at least 5 or 6. This is the Obamas, and Barbara Walters is asking what makes them happy. Listen, and hopefully this is not too loud, doesn't blast your ears. Hopefully it's not too quiet. Press 1 if it's perfect volume, 2 when it comes up if it's too loud, 3 if it's too quiet. Okay, so I'll know what you're talking about. But here, because it's been a while since I played some clips. So here's the Obamas with Barbara Walters. Listen to this, clip A.
What is your idea of perfect happiness?
Oh, perfect happiness.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect happiness. When I feel as if I am doing things that are making other people better and happy, then I feel real good. That's when I'm at my peak.
Mrs. Obama?
Yeah, right.
Happiness. Happiness is family. When my family's good, I'm good.
What a phony. And her family is not good. They don't have a good family. Volume seems good, according to the people. Thank you. Appreciate the feedback. And Obama, trying to be a do-gooder. He feels good when he's helping other people be better and be happy. Yeah, right. He enjoys when some are saying a little too loud. Okay. All right. Well, thank you. Most of you are saying 1. Here's what they would change about here's one thing that they would change. Just have to show these to you because it's just a nice throwback or a gross throwback. And who's worse, the Bidens or the Obamas? I don't know. Or Kamala Harris. Listen to this.
If you could change one thing about yourself, what would it be?
I'd be more patient. I think I've gotten more patient over the years, but I'm constantly working on just being patient.
Okay.
Yeah. You know that she's not patient. Here are them talking about their peeves with each other. And a peeve with each other is when you have something that you don't like about the other person. And listen to this simp and listen to this evil woman.
What is your biggest peeve about each other?
Oh, I don't have one.
My list is too long. No?
Wow, disrespect. Such disrespect. And you could tell that Michelle laughed with that fake, cheap laugh because Obama's like, I don't have anything that I'm annoyed at her by. And she's all, What a phony. Okay, here's that famous clip of Obama talking about stuff chokes him up very easily. What a kiss-up woman.
What's the biggest misconception about you?
You know, detached or Spock-like or very analytical. I think that's a misconception about me. I'm a softie. Stuff can choke me up very easily. My girls, for example.
Man. I told you guys. Imagine Trump saying that. Not morally straight. Not morally straight. Oh, this one is pretty good. Obama is asked by this feminist woman, Barbara Walters, when he lies, if he lies. He was a big liar. But listen to this. Yeah, E.
On what occasion do you lie?
Usually, the only time I lie is
When
very
you're talking.
personal interactions with family members who you say, you look great, and they don't. Wonderful dress, not so much.
Things that would, where the truth would hurt other people.
Isn't that telling? They don't like to tell the truth that might hurt other people. Interesting. And that's part of, anyway, it's ridiculous. Part of love is telling the truth to the blacks when it would, even though it would hurt them. But these guys pretend that black victimhood, among other things. And finally, lastly, this one Robert may appreciate. Obama admits that he is indeed lazy. Last one.
Okay, what's the trait you most deplore in yourself and the trait you most deplore in others?
Laziness.
You're lazy?
You know, it's interesting. There is a deep down underneath all the work I do, I think there's a laziness in me. I mean, it's probably from, you know, growing up in Hawaii, and it's sunny outside and sitting on the beach.
Sounds good to me.
Right. And the thing actually that I most dislike is I can't stand cruel people.
Yeah, right. He's one of the most cruel people that you can think of. Remember when the Tea Party was protesting against his the out of control spending and the Obamacare and the tax increase and all that madness? He's like, you would think they would be thanking me. Very cruel person. Evil. And lazy. He admitted it. Very typical. Okay, guys, before I get to this Liz Cheney stuff, I want to talk to my second favorite caller, Earl in Michigan. He wants to comment on this Arizona audit. This is what he called about yesterday, but he never got to it because he doesn't like to get straight to the point. What's up, Earl? You want to apologize to me for being so disrespectful yesterday?
No. I
No.
want you to apologize to me for being disrespectful to me.
Nope. I'm the host.
then
You respect me.
Well, whatever you are, that don't give you the right to be disrespectful.
You were
Nobody's
disrespectful.
doubting
You were the
whether-
one disrespectful.
Whether you're a host or not, that's not the point. The point is, to treat
When I
people with
talk,
respect
you be
and
quiet.
decently.
When I talk, you
And
be quiet.
When I'm talking, you let me speak.
I do let you speak.
No, you don't. You interrupt first two words I get out.
Not true?
You're asking another question.
Not true?
You lie.
You're trifling.
But I'm not going to get into that.
You
'cause
just
that's
did.
a waste of time.
You
'Cause
just
you're
did.
just a liar. But,
So Earl won't apologize when he's
before-
wrong.
Nor do you when you're wrong.
Not true?
You always say that because that's what you say about anything you lie about.
Whatever.
You say that a lot too. But first, before I talk about the audit that I originally want to talk about, I want to address Craig in Illinois. That fat-faced, butt-teeth monkey.
What in the world? It wasn't Craig who said that to you. It's you're getting your names wrong, and I defended you, by the way. Are you going to thank me?
Yeah, you defended me a little bit.
Thank me.
But, huh?
Thank me.
Finally, you said something that contradicted what he said. Well, you finished one thing he might say about me, but the other things you let go. But, well, like you said, 1,000 things. Well, maybe he's not fat. That's the only thing he could come up with, or something like that.
I think it was Keith. I think it was Keith. Craig doesn't talk like that to you, I don't think. Maybe it was. I don't know. Maybe a couple of these black callers who agree with me because they agree with the truth and disagree with you. Sometimes they can get a little harsh with you.
Yeah. Well, Keith from Illinois, whatever that clown is, that sorry individual, weak.
If you don't want to be treated that way, why do you treat him that way? With all this name calling.
I'm giving him some of the stuff he throws at me.
Exactly. Yeah. You're not treating others as you want to be treated. You're treating others how they treated you. That's not good.
And it's not good for them, but it was good for the goose. It's good for the gander. If you can throw it out, you can take it.
Typical angry black thinking.
You know, Jesse he gets the Coon Award. You know, I don't call people coons, but I make an exception in Keith's case because
that's the Coon Award.
He might have to fight Jesse over being the Coon of the Year. But he's also, you heard of King Kong?
King Kong?
Meet Keith.
Yeah.
Yeah, meet Keith. King Coon.
Wow, genius.
But
original. Got him.
But enough about him. Also,
by the way, there's Black Jesus. Look at this. It's terrible.
Also, Joe
who
from
sent this to us? I think this might have been Sion. Sion sent us Black Jesus.
Are you listening?
I'm holding up a figurine, an action figure of a Black Jesus. And did Sion send this to us? Or somebody sent this to us. I forget who it was. But very nice. If you're listening to the thing, maybe I'll put it in the thumbnail. Black Jesus. Very beautiful. Anyway, apologies. Earl, go ahead.
Yeah. And to Joe in Arizona, he needs to get off his high horse and stop criticizing and condescending to folks who don't talk exactly like he does. I want them to.
But he just wants you to calm down and put out a single, thoughtful, coherent point.
Well, I do. He was able to discern what I'm saying. So can others.
Okay.
You know, the fact that I don't speak in the way he particularly likes.
Well, I got your point the first time. Let's move on.
Okay. To that, I wish you get the message. But as far as audit, that's a sham of all shams in Arizona.
How do you know?
You know, the fact that the leader of what is this Fiber Genie?
Something like that.
He's the one that wrote. He's also the dude that wrote all this stuff to Sidney Powell about Dominion and all these conspiracies. He's one of the leading conspiracists out there, and so he's leading the audit for, and it's supposed to be independent, but yet this is the first time he ever did an audit. And the thing about it, he's making all kind of rules and so forth. He tried to make it secret so nobody see it, but some right-wing ONN station till they had to be sued and let other folks in. So if you think that's going to give you an independent number, and it wasn't just designed to support the theory that things were stolen, then you're fooling yourself.
Earl, I don't have high hopes of anybody getting to the bottom of what really happened with regard to the election.
You get to that face facts. It's been done at least two times, and it's been certified by the Republicans that lead the Arizona Senate and so forth.
You trust Republicans? You trust Republicans?
Well, if they say it was fair and square, and they for Republicans, why shouldn't I?
You trust Republicans?
Sometimes.
You only trust Republicans when they agree with Democrats.
Well, you do the same thing with Democrats. If they say something that you agree with, then you trust them.
I don't trust them. I say they were right, but I don't trust them. Anyway, man. Interesting.
Point made.
Yeah.
All right. Adios, amigos. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Goodbye. Yeah, I mean, he's talking about the, I don't know, I haven't really kept up what's going on with regard to the, to that election. I mean, the election audit. But, come on. You really think that they'll even get to the bottom of it? I don't really have high hopes. I think that it's a silly thing. Indeed, I did mess up yesterday's thing. I kept on calling it Monday when it was Tuesday. Crazy. Anyway. Quickly, let me get to Samuel in Tennessee, and then I will get to some of these other things going on. Samuel in Tennessee, how are you doing?
Whoa, it's the Hake Report.
Nice. Impressive. Maybe you should sing my next version of that song.
Yeah, with auto-tune. And I need Earl to open. Dude, why do you... Man, you waste time sometimes with Earl. Like, the last 45 seconds of what he was saying, it didn't make any sense to me at all. But anyway, I know you just offer him a platform so people can see what it's like to be a black female in a male body.
I mean, I try to decipher what he's saying, but sometimes it's hard to keep up.
Yeah. Anyway, I just wanted to thank you, Hake, because I started listening to you about 2 weeks ago. And to be honest, well, we should always be honest, but I seriously gave up on news. And because it's just so spun.
Yeah.
And you are the no spin zone. You put a backspin on their front spin. And
yeah.
I just enjoy it, like especially this whole critical infrastructure thing. I think you're onto something with that being a communism term.
Yeah. No, and I learned that from boomers who were calling out communism back in the day.
Yeah.
It's these people are, and maybe Gen Xers too, but these terms, middle class.
Oh yeah.
That's a sleazy term. Seems like
it is.
It's class warfare. It is pretending that, and it's ridiculous. I don't know. I like how
Jesus
Trump talks.
said
He says, they're not the elites, you are the elite. You know how they talk about that stuff?
Yeah. Yeah.
So arrogant.
And but you're right. I mean, this has been going on for a while. Joseph McCarthy was right.
Yeah.
And you look at all the Jezebels in our society, I guess the Salem witch trials were right too. We just got a skewed view on it.
Yeah. Yeah, very well could be.
Yeah, I mean,
who knows what the truth was?
An out-of-control woman will destroy a society. And just look, I mean, but what is it, like 60-some% of them are just out of control.
Yeah.
I wanted to get to I wanted to put this thing, I hear from people calling about the Jews and stuff. I want to just give some clarity on this. The early church that was in Rome, Thessalonica, all these places, these were Jews that were dispersed in the early first century, but also when Babylon.
You're saying the church were Jews? Early church were Jews?
Yes, they were mainly Jews, and they had some Gentiles. The fake Jews, which is what we see now, running the media, these are those that say they are, but they're not. They do lie.
Not at their heart, yeah.
And they're the synagogue of Satan. So
Yeah.
I want people that are kind of like leaning towards, calling out the Jew, just to be aware that most Christians today, they've lost their genealogy. They were of the lost tribes that were scattered because of God's judgment on them.
You're saying did you say most Christians today or most Christians back then?
Even today, it's just the genealogies are lost because the Bible tells us not to heed endless genealogies. So we're not supposed to care about our background.
Right.
We're supposed to care about being in Christ. And
Yeah.
Christ is the Israel of God. So that country over there, I'm in favor, in the Middle East, that country over there, I'm in favor of them having peace. I pray for the peace of Jerusalem. I'm in favor of both the Palestinians and the fake Jews over there because they all need to know Christ.
Okay.
And that just puts it to rest. Now in Romans, it says, not all of Israel is Israel, but all of Israel shall be saved. Because there was always an imposter class, even during the time of Christ and John the Baptist. That's why John the Baptist dude had to go into the wilderness and eat bugs.
That's why so many of the Christians today are fake Christians, because people people are not genuine. And they're not, I think that there is a big self-righteousness problem across the people who are trying to be real Christians. They're trying to be real Christians, and they may think that they are real Christians, but they're not really examining themselves.
You nailed it on the head, James, because this is what God wanted us to know, is that there's always going to be an imposter class, and there's always going to be a genuine. And that winnowing, that narrowing of God's remnant is always occurring. It's happened through all generations. There's no magic bloodline. God chose Abraham's seed, which was Israel and his children, because God uses the family as the organizational unit to accomplish anything. You can't accomplish things. Think about it. If there's a family that runs a grocery store and the eldest son moves to another town, he could start a grocery store.
Right.
He knows the ins and outs. That's why God chose a family. Now, the dispensationalist Christians, the Schofield followers,
You're losing me.
Pre-tribulation.
I have no idea what those things are.
That's what's
and
in
I don't think most of
my
listeners know what those things are.
Well, it's the people that believe in the rapture, the pre-tribulation rapture. These people have been sold out. The bankers that started the Federal Reserve, namely Samuel Untermeyer, promoted this false theology in order to pigeonhole the Christian, and that's where we're at now. These people are like waiting for a rapture instead of living a godly life. And,
True. Yeah, we don't need to be
families.
No man will know the day or the hour, and we don't even know what's going to happen exactly. Thank you, Samuel.
Yeah.
Interesting call. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Hey, fight on, man. And I just keep putting the counter spin on their top spin, because it keeps us listening. We want to hear your editorialization.
Nice.
Because that's all we get anyway.
Right.
So at least put the spin back and put that. And in so doing, you can hopefully take the spin out of it.
Right.
So
thanks again, Samuel. Good to hear from you. Take care.
God bless you. Bye.
Bye. Nice new shirt, Hake. Well, it's actually not new. I just haven't worn it in a while, but appreciate it, Willie Palomino. I felt guilty wearing a shirt that said outside when I didn't used to go outside much, but now I'm going outside more. Appreciate it. Some little ethnic child on streamlabs.com/The Hake Report says, and you're going to like this, that song Suitcase by Over the Rhine grew on me. It's actually not that bad, and I kind of enjoy it. Thank you, some little ethnic child. She recognizes. You better recognize too, you Philistines who don't like Over the Rhine. Or am I the Philistine for liking Over the Rhine? Maybe I'm the sucker. But I do like that song, Suitcase. What you doing with the suitcase? Aren't you tripping on your shoelace? She's just disrespecting this man who's walking out on her, apparently. But also, it's such a sad song and emotional and all that mess. Which is good for music, right? It's good for music. Love you guys and the show, says Beta Legs with a streamlabs.com/The Hake Report super chat. Appreciate that. He says, thanks for all the hard work. Revelation 2:6. Thanks for the tip. Revelation 2:6. I'll have to look that up sometime. Thank you, Beta Legs. You know, quickly, let me just real fast play. Speaking of an out-of-control woman, the lines are full, guys. 888-775-3773. But the lines are full right now. But I have to show this to you. Maybe I'll show one before and one after. We'll see. Out-of-control woman. I want to play clip. Did I put it in the folder? I don't know if I did. Okay, yes, I think I did. Clip, you see clip 13 in there? Let's play Liz Cheney talking about basically repeating the same thing that Earl said. So, do you believe Liz Cheney? Do you believe Earl? This is Liz Cheney speaking on the, what is she? Is she a senator or is she a House member? She's speaking on the floor of Congress. Let's just call it that. Listen to her mess. It's a few minutes long. And hopefully I cut it off after not too long. Listen to this.
God has blessed America, Mr. Speaker.
She's referencing
But our
God.
freedom only survives if we protect it.
Female
if we
congressman.
honor our oath taken before God in this chamber to support and defend the Constitution. If we recognize threats to freedom when they arise. Today, we face a threat America has never seen before. A former president who provoked a violent attack on this Capitol
Not
in
true.
an effort to steal the election
Lying
has
woman.
resumed his aggressive effort to convince Americans that the election was stolen from him. He risks inciting further violence. Millions
Not
of
true.
Americans have been misled by the former president. They have heard only his words, but not the truth, as he continues to undermine our democratic process, sowing seeds of doubt about whether democracy really works at all. I am a
It's not
conservative
democracy.
Republican, and
She
the
called
most
herself conservative
conservative
Republican.
of conservative principles is reverence for the rule of law.
Which Trump supports.
The Electoral College has voted. More than
Blah, and
60
then she's
state
going
and
blah,
federal
blah, blah.
courts, including multiple judges the former president appointed, have
Isn't this
rejected
annoying?
his claims. The Trump Department
true.
of Justice investigated the former president's claims of widespread fraud and found no evidence to support them. The election is over. That is the rule of law. That is our constitutional process.
What a
Those
psycho.
who refuse to accept the rulings of our courts are at war with the Constitution.
Talk about subversive, am I right? What a sick woman. And so she said this last night, I guess, before they voted her out of her, I guess they voted out of her committee assignments. She's still in Congress. She's still going to push mess, I think, right? Real quick, let me play this other one. She's grandstanding this morning, apparently, or yeah, I guess this morning. She starts repeating this line about the big lie. Listen to her big lies.
Embrace the big lie and embrace the Constitution. And going forward, the nation needs it. The nation needs a strong Republican Party. The nation needs a party that is based upon fundamental principles of conservatism. And I am committed and dedicated to ensuring that that's how this party goes forward, and I plan to lead the fight to do that.
She's going to lead.
Are you that former President Trump might end up back in the Oval Office, and what are you prepared to do to prevent it?
I will do everything I can to ensure that the former president never again gets anywhere near the Oval Office. We have seen the danger that he continues to provoke with his language. We have seen his lack of commitment and dedication to the Constitution, and I think it's very important that we make sure whomever we elect is somebody who will be faithful to the Constitution.
What a psycho. She's overwhelmed.
I do not. I think that it is an indication of where the Republican Party is, and I think that the party is in a place that we've got to bring it back from, and we've got to get back to a position where we are a party that can fight for conservative principles, that can fight for substance. We cannot be dragged backward by the very dangerous lies of a former president. Thank you.
What an evil sicko. That's Liz Cheney, daughter to Dick Cheney, who has supported so-called same-sex marriage. Where's that in the Constitution, you sicko? Because one of her sisters, or her sister is a lesbian. So because he's weak, he doesn't believe in what's right. He believes in supporting his daughter for being a lesbian. Psycho. Why, oh why, did I vote for Bush Cheney twice? And I did. I voted twice for them. Anyway, that's Liz Cheney. She got voted out, and I'm going to talk about Ken Buck actually kind of defending her, interestingly. And Ken Buck is supposed to be a conservative Freedom Caucus. But I'll talk about that after the break and then get to your calls. The lines are full, guys. But it is 10:01 a.m. here in L.A., and I have yet another hand-picked beautiful song, I think, called She. And this song is from Over the Rhine, and is a kind of a sad song about self-harm. Don't do that, guys, or gals. But it's talking about, is another man-bashing song, but I like it. It's kind of nice. Enjoy She from Over the Rhine, and I'll be right back.
What she would like to do is get you out of her head. She's tried every trick. She's so sick of thinking about it. What's so special about you? You're an ache she's learned to crave. You're a blade too dull to rake. But she cuts herself on you every night. She's just dying to lay down the night. What she would love to do is get you out of her bed. She's played it over and over and over in her head. But she cuts herself on you every night. She's just dying to lay down the night. She clings to what's familiar. She thinks a change will kill her.
Wow, so pretty. Hake's CD case was filled with the hopes and dreams of bands who played the packed houses of parents. And ask parents if you want your capping or decap. Wow. Forget you, Brandon M. He says that in the super chat. Trovo. Mr. Blackwing says, nice chill music. She thinks she's Lucinda Williams, says De White. Wow. Better than heavy metal, says Brandon Johnson. Thank you, man.
She's just dying
She sounds like Sheryl Crow, says Marie Warner. Wow. I like it. Well, guys, hope you enjoyed that. Corbra Coy 99 says, oh, I'll read that in a second. Oh, yeah, he says, there was a video on Facebook. It was Montel introduced Vice President Kamala in the early 2000s. Check it out. It was very interesting. She depressed, says Joseph461. Yeah, you know, there was a great line in the prior song that I played, How Long Have You Been Stoned? It was in the song bridge where she said, is everybody wasted? Complacent? Is anybody free? Isn't that a great line? So many people are not actually free. And all on that mess, drugs and mess. So before I get back to calls, I want to talk quickly about this Ken Buck guy who seemingly is defending Liz Cheney from being ousted. Honestly, I think we should oust a lot more than that. We should oust Kevin McCarthy, Mitch McConnell, Lindsey Graham, and most of these sleazy rhinos. I just assume that most of the Republicans are rhinos now. Like, the default is they're a rhino until they prove otherwise. It's how I feel like it. Sounds like cowboy junkies. Check them out. Yeah, these people were adjunct members of cowboy junkies. Did you know that? Over the Rhine. They played with them, in other words. Conservative Freedom Caucus member Ken Buck says Liz Cheney was canceled today for speaking her mind. That's what he told reporters, according to Mediaite. Ken Buck is supposedly a Republican, supposedly a Conservative Freedom Caucus Republican, representative from Colorado. So I don't know about Colorado. Colorado is kind of liberal right now. Generally viewed as an ally to President Trump. But he expressed support for Cheney in a sense. He was reportedly the only House Republican to remain seated when she spoke on the House floor to speak, and she said that mess about, oh, the Constitution. This woman, give me a break. Even as other GOP lawmakers cleared the room. Just all phony and show, in my opinion. All phony and show. President Trump spoke about her. He... You know, from the desk of Donald J. Trump, donaldjtrump.com/desk, he said about Liz Cheney a couple of things. First, he said on I guess, yesterday. Wait, what was this? Today, the 12th. Earlier this morning, he said, the Republicans in the House of Representatives have a great opportunity today to rid themselves of a poor leader, a major Democrat talking point, a warmonger, and a person with absolutely no personality or heart. As a representative of the great state of Wyoming, Liz Cheney is bad for our country and bad for herself. Almost everyone in the Republican Party, including 90% of Wyoming, looks forward to her ouster, and that includes me. He says, Liz Cheney, more recently, he said, Liz Cheney is a bitter, horrible human being. An hour afterwards. I watched her yesterday and realized how bad she is for the Republican Party. She has no personality or anything good having to do with politics or our country. She is a talking point for Democrats, whether that means the border, the gas lines, inflation, or destroying our economy. She is a warmonger, kind of like her father, Dick Cheney, whose family stupidly pushed us into the never-ending Middle East disaster, draining our wealth and depleting our great military. The worst decision in our country's history, he says. I look forward to soon watching her as a paid contributor on CNN or MSDNC. Right on, Donald J. Trump. Right on. He's right about that. He put out a few different messages from his desk. I'll get to more of those. But let me quickly get to Pablo, a first-time caller in Houston, Texas. He has a comment on Bible thumpers. Pablo Good to hear from you in Houston, Texas. How are you?
Hey, can you hear me all right?
Yes, sir. You sound fine. Thank you.
Good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing fine.
Yeah, it's my first time listening to the Hake report.
Nice.
I listened to the GOP show a few times.
Appreciate it.
But you said something that was interesting that I agreed in the beginning about Christians, you know, and in my experience, when I first became a Christian in college, one thing that I just couldn't shake off was the impression that, you know, I was hearing all this stuff, you know, Jesus died for my sins, the old man is done, everything was finished at the cross. But in my life, I just had this impression that it was so forced, you know?
Forced?
Yeah, like it was so like forced and so fake, like
yeah,
people were talking and acting so much, but
right.
I just had this impression, like, man, like, what's actually going on? Like,
are you talking about yourself or the people that whom you were listening to in the church?
I think it was all the Christians around me, and I started doing it as well.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Kind of as a result, and then kind of telling myself, like, lying to myself so much, you know, like telling myself, yeah, everything is this, everything's that, but there's no reality. It was just so fake.
Yeah. Are you on a speakerphone right now?
Yeah.
You're coming kind of in and out. Stay on regular phone.
All right, 1 second.
Appreciate it, man.
Sorry, I don't like to put this thing over like so close to my head, but
you concerned about the radio waves?
Nah, it just feels weird to have something right in my ear. I don't know.
Okay. All right. Well, you sound I think better maybe.
All right. But you know, recently and then what happened was I actually got quite involved in my church, and it wasn't that it was I think there was some true aspects to it. And then eventually, the reason I came to Houston was to do missionary work here, you know?
A missionary to Houston. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
To the inner city or what?
No. Just to mostly college students.
Okay, so you go on college campuses and say, hey, you want to do a Bible study type of thing? Or what?
Exactly.
Okay.
But, you know, when I got here, it was a little bit different because I wasn't surrounded by so many people. It was an interesting experience because I think the best thing that happened to me coming here was since I wasn't around so many people, I didn't have to act in front of them. You know what I mean?
You didn't have to act Christian?
Exactly. And
that's interesting.
And then there was one morning that I remember just went outside and I was sitting. It's nice, like I was able to find a pretty cool, cheap room, and outside there's like a garden. And I was sitting outside and I was thinking, man, do I really believe all this stuff? Like, do I really believe all this?
Right.
Jesus is this, that. Like, I just took a second for myself because I feel like so many Christians, they hold on to their faith, so scared of like losing it, you know?
Right. And they make it like it's taboo to even question each other's salvation type of thing. You can't question, are you questioning my salvation? They make it like it's politically incorrect to say that, and you should follow the political correctness. It's ridiculous.
Or even your own salvation.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's true too.
Like, if Jesus is really real, if God is really real, you know, this shouldn't be something that we should be scared to somehow question and like to look at it and actually figure out what's happening.
Yeah, some people I brought to church with Jesse Lee Peterson years back said about, I don't know what it was. Maybe Jesse said about if you're born again, you cannot sin, right? And that's it's in the Bible that way, honestly.
Yeah.
The people that I brought to the church did not like that line because it might cause people to doubt their own salvation. And so it's basically protect them from the truth. You don't want the truth to hurt somebody.
Exactly.
It's ridiculous.
I don't know where this notion came from also to like not doubt one's own salvation. Like how in the world are we going to know if it's legit? Like, imagine living your whole life thinking you're saved.
Right, I know. And then you get a nasty surprise afterwards. What a shame. I think that may happen.
Yeah, no, I'm sure that's going to happen to a lot of people.
Yeah.
Jesus even said, you know, like you say, Lord, Lord,
right?
But you don't even know me. And this is what I realized. Like, man, I have no freaking clue what this whole Jesus thing's about.
Yeah. That's interesting. So as a quick question, I interrupted you a bit, but as a missionary to Houston, are you working too, or are you just being sponsored, how long are you living in, or being a missionary in Houston?
No. So this is one of the good things about the church. It's like there's no like being sponsored or anything. Like I just, it's.
You get a job.
Here, got a job.
Okay.
Living normal life, but then in my free time. And I saw what's interesting is that there's no such thing as actually being a missionary.
Okay.
The only thing that exists is like just being a normal person who's a son of God. And then out of the abundance of, I love this one verse, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks.
Right.
You know this verse?
Yep.
So if you're a man like Jesse doesn't try, Like I was hearing the show a little earlier. And I realized that if I'm going to do any sort of work for Jesus, it can't be no phony work. I need to just be like a child of God, and then I'll meet certain people in my life, and then open my mouth, and then the Lord will allow me to,
Right. Not that forced stuff. Interesting, man. Yeah, it seems like a whole lot of missionary kids and missionaries are liberals when they go to these other countries.
Yeah.
They're just into anyway, I don't know.
But actually, the reason I called was, I wanted to share this little story, and basically what was interesting was during this time that I was kind of like taking it slow and seeing what's happening. I came across Jesse's videos again. I had seen him a little earlier, and it was just like for the first time, I felt like Jesse. He speaks a lot about letting the truth catch up to you.
Yeah.
And I felt like I wasn't trying so much, and then for the first time, things were actually happening. Like I didn't need to tell myself anything. There was no me having to convince myself things were happening. I could just observe and see and experience, God taking things away, and not even needing to name these things, but it was real, And even if I tried to doubt, I couldn't, because it was so real.
That's cool, man. Just be normal.
Exactly, man. Just be freaking normal. Don't trip.
That's cool, man.
But I wanted to know about your how was your experience in? I mean, if you think there's time for it, how was your experience in going from? I don't know if you came from a phony Christian type of life and then slowly like living, or I kind of want to know like what was that moment for you?
I remember trying to be all serious about being a Christian, especially when I was going to Azusa Pacific University and maybe just before that too, because I was thinking, I'm getting into being an adult. I better take this thing seriously and read my Bible and all that stuff. And I read this thing about, we are the lukewarm generation. I got that from a guy from an old Christian band that I used to listen to, Goaty Hook, actually. He wrote this piece saying that we are the lukewarm generation, meaning the generation that doesn't really take God seriously and he's going to spit us out of his mouth. And that rang true to me. And so I started getting serious about reading the Bible and being a Christian, so-called. I was raised Christian. But yeah, it was the more I tried, the weirder I got.
Yeah, that's it.
And so I knew it wasn't working though. Even as I was trying to do the Christian things that other Christians were going to the chapel services at APU and trying to hang around Christian friends who I felt that they were Christians. And then it was kind of fake. They turned out to be liberals and kind of bitter people, many of the people that I admired. And I was not improving, I didn't feel. So then along comes people who are just normal, and somebody said, you're from L.A., you should check out Jesse Peterson. And so he has a church over in L.A. called Bond. And so I came to Bond, and Jesse wasn't even talking the day that I came because he was out of town doing a speaking engagement, but other men were leading the church service and conducting church. And so it was refreshing to hear men running church rather than women, because even if it's a male pastor, it's women running the show for the rest of it. They're talking, the other men are all beaten down and quiet and subdued. So it was just refreshing. Right? Yeah, practically. Yeah, that's the other thing about Azusa Pacific. Like, you question who it is you're really talking to with some of these guys. They're so soft. But it was refreshing to hear somebody say, you really are as bad as you think you are, but there is hope. And just be real. So it was very nice.
Cool. And then after you started to go through the process of just like letting truth settle in and live in truth.
Yeah. Yep. Hit and miss, because, you know, you go from being a Bible thumper to being a Jesse thumper. You never drop your ego. You just keep, a lot of people, you'll see this. A lot of people will trade one intellectual truth for another, and they'll just still be arrogant people, or they'll still be blind, even though they have this knowledge. That's why I have this T-shirt that says "Knowledge is poison," because people will start beating it. People will think that they have it, and they don't have it. They just know the words or know the principles, but they don't live it. So, anyway, it's a never-ending. The deception is never-ending, and that's why you have to watch yourself.
Man, it's unbelievably gay. Like, it's, you know what I mean? Like, no, I'm just joking, but yeah, man, that's right on. That's cool to hear you, and because, you know, one thing is hearing Jesse, but then seeing you, and then right on, man. That's all. Maybe I'll call again some other time.
Right on, Pablo. It's good to hear from you. Take care, man.
All right, God bless you, my man. Take care.
All right. Jib Jab says, I can't take any more of these, Hank. If you're playing these sad beta songs to get donos, as in donations, and then congratulations, it worked, LOL. Aw, thank you, Jib Jab. Appreciate it. How'd you like that song, She? By Over the Rhine. By the way, thank you for the tip, Cobra Koi, about Montel, as in Montel Williams, that weird guy, introducing Kamala Harris from the early 2000s, before she was vice president. Check it out, very interesting. Thank you, Cobra Koi. I got some homework from you guys in the super chats. Awesome. If you're on Trovo and you don't know how to super chat, ask the people. Maybe they'll be able to tell you, because I don't exactly know how to do it. Quick pocket headline for you guys. Maybe just one today. They're going after the South. Pocket is that far-left Enemies of America article aggregator that you may see on Firefox. If you have Firefox, you should probably just use Brave, the Brave browser. The guy who basically invented JavaScript and co-founded Mozilla and Firefox, Brendan Eich, got ousted from Mozilla because he supported normal, actual marriage, not same-sex marriage, and he got canceled for it. This was years ago, and so he left and started Brave. So use Brave, guys. But anyways, in Firefox, they have these pocket headlines, and I saw this one that caught my eye because I defend the South. The South are beautiful people, and then I will get to calls, guys. I have Gabriel in Toronto, Canada, coming up next. He wants to talk about evolution, but I have a lot of people to get to. But this headline says, why Confederate lies live on. For some Americans, history isn't the story of what actually happened. It's the story that they want to believe. And then it has a picture of a broken stained glass window, a vandalized rebel flag, you know, the Confederate battle flag that's stretched into a rectangle. Beautiful flag, honestly. Christian flag, I hear. 1861 to 1865. I guess that's, what was that, the length of the Civil War, or the length of the Confederacy, the Confederate States of America? And this was by The Atlantic, of all places. Published May 10th, 2021. It's a story by some guy, Clint Smith. Probably not even... Yeah, he's a black guy, Clint Smith. A writer for The Atlantic, which is a far-left Enemies of America outlet. And he's talking about people that believe in the... What is that thing called? Lost cause. He pretends he's about truth. And this guy, by the way, is the type of guy that capitalizes the B in the word black. So it's a smear upon the South. I don't really want to get into it too much, but people say Confederate history in this article. Somebody says Confederate history is family history. History as eulogy. Eulogy is, when somebody's died, or when the Confederacy has died in this case, a metaphor, in which loyalty takes precedence over truth. Nobody at the Atlantic pretty much cares about truth. So these people are sleazy. Sleazy. There's a whole bunch of people calling Confederates traitors and all that mess. It's a lie. We're supposed to be united. We fought the war to unite the country, but these people want to smear them. And he cares about truth. The Atlantic pushes the racism lie. They employed and propped up that black guy who lied to his son about black victimhood and brainwashed his son to think that Trayvon Martin and Mike Brown were victims of racism. This guy, Ta-Nehisi Coates, who refused to come on the JLP show. He's a coward. But he would talk behind JLP's back, by the way. He called him, I forget what he called him, like an Uncle Tom or something like that, for saying, thank God for slavery. Because by slavery, we have the ability to be in America. Be in America. The Atlantic is not a very Christian publication. In fact, not Christian at all. But they've been around forever. A sick group of people. The Atlantic. Dumb liars. Don't trust them to tell the truth. Pretty sick. Super chat here. Hold on. Super chat here, Lin Yen Chin explains over on Trovo, is done via clicking on the bootleg Windows icon with a green dot. This opens up a panel with 6 other icons. Select the one titled Magic Chat, and you will get the option to Super Cap or Colorful Chat, and the other two options, and two other options. But don't you have to have money in the first place? You have to have money in the first place. Cheesehead69 says, "Don't forget my super chat." Let me see, Cheesehead69. Looking for it. Looking for it. I don't know. I lost it. Can you repost it? Can you repost it and just tag me, Cheesehead69? Because unless I screenshotted it, I missed it, because it's when you talk on Trovo, eventually the older chats go away. Oh, I found it. Cheesehead69 gave a Trovo super cap and said, secular, quote unquote, education is the worst crime against children in recent decades. One of the worst. I think abortion might be worse, but I'm not sure. That's a good question. Because as JLP said, the Black Lives Matter is worse than the KKK. Because the KKK allegedly killed blacks. I think mostly they burned crosses in yards. I don't know if they killed blacks, but maybe they did. But Black Lives Matter kills the soul by causing them to hate. Same thing with secular education. And he puts quote unquote education. Interesting point. Tearing children away from God before they can even discern properly yet. Any education divorced from God is the opposite of education. It is explicit brainwashing, says Cheesehead69. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Appreciate that, Cheesehead69. But there are other people. I don't know why I'm hoarse. Maybe it's a sign I should be taking calls. There are other people who are brainwashing their children in an imitation of Christianity, and that's turning them away from God too. That's just a side note. It's separate. It's a separate issue, but it's related. It's the same effect, really. A false version of Christianity. Teaching the principles when you're not living it. What a mess. Lin Yen Chin also says with the Trovo colorful chat, Earl is tangential and incoherent due to the internal strain of his emotional constipation. The pressure it is It is fragmenting his cognitive coherence. Great point, Lin Yunchin. Obama was too weak to carry the sword of truth. Confirmed, says Canadian David. Yeah, that's true. Skip says there's a lot of recent out-of-control black news everywhere. What a mess. Okay, I got to get to Gabriel in Toronto, Canada. Gabriel, how are you doing?
Very well. Thank you, James. How are you?
Doing well as well. Oh, you're Gabriel.
Correct. I got goosebumps right now. Yeah. You having great callers. I'm talking about young guys that call. Great callers so far.
Cool.
Yeah. I just heard a guy called in and he was giving his 2 cents about evolution and that he doesn't believe in it. I just wanted to say about the race. He started speaking about race, that this academics, they need evolution to kind of downgrade races, whatever.
Right.
I just, because I'm Allah Akbar guy, a friendly Allah Akbar guy, I wanted to just bring a point. God says in Islam that he made us into nations only for one reason. And the reason is so we get to know each other. I thought it's so simple and it so logically makes sense, because if we all were the same, either Asian or black or white, it would be so boring. Like from that 1984, whatever, the story, where everybody were the same.
Huh.
Speaking of which,
yeah,
there was a...
That's what they're trying to force on us, too. Force everybody to be the same and support, and the same evil, really. Support LGBTIQ mess.
Correct, yeah. Because
support the hatred of whites and Christians.
The way we were made,
Yeah.
And that's why it's evil. There is a news you said on Jesse Lee Peterson where they wanted to require vaccine verification for kids in school.
Yeah.
I was fascinated. Why? Because there was a movie made back in the day, I don't remember the year, but Christian Bale, main character. And it's called Equilibrium. And in that movie, people had to take some sort of a pill so they get all that numb and like zombies, go to work and stuff like that. And Christian Bale, main character, he skipped on that, and then he got memory, and he basically went against the whole that communist system. I believe they were communists.
Okay.
Pretty good movie. About a few weeks ago, Jesse had a biblical question about greatest evil, and it was about forgetting. When he introduced his opinion on that, I was fascinated because, again, in Islam, God referred to Adam many different ways, but one of the ways he referred to him as forgetful one, which is, I found that when Jesse said it, I'm like, oh my God, this is like amazing.
Yeah. Forgetful in the sense that he forgot God's one commandment to him, not to eat the fruit.
Oh, pretty much.
Of the knowledge of good and evil.
Well, they give the story, giving an example, when he forgot, it had to do with death. And then at the end, I'm not going to go in detail, but at the end of the day, God said, he sent the angel of death, Azrael, and he said, don't you want to meet your Lord? And then Adam said, okay, take my soul. But I didn't want to go through the whole thing. And it has a parallel. Why? Because it's like he was born again, at the very end, at 940 years, I think he lived.
Yeah.
In Islam version. But anyways, another thing is, I never shared my opinion about Donald Trump, but I remember I was very fascinated about him. I was like, and I'm in doubt. I don't know, right? But I'm for him simply because he has such a big family. And I thought that's the fruit, because how in Bible it says we have to judge by the fruits, right?
Yeah.
And I saw like he has a very big family, and he's in his age now. And usually people, when they get older, they're supposed to get closer to the God.
Yeah.
Since the desires go away, and then it's clear now, right? So I thought, he probably the real deal. And then after they start trashing him online, through media, all that stuff.
Right.
I'm like, yeah, he's probably is for real, because they formed armies against him,
Right. Very true. Interesting,
yeah,
man. You couldn't tell that he was real just by the way he presented himself and the truth that he told?
You know what? Yeah, I found it very fascinating because he spoke so openly. And I'm like, man, this guy, I don't know if he's like for actual good or not, but he has some cojones, to do that. And I'm like, okay, he's right away separated himself from 20 years of other politicians in the past, right? At least.
Yep.
So I'm like, this guy is unique. But then, I started watching his old videos about when people were asking about him becoming a president like 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And he was saying, I don't want to, but I'm sure. And his view was very clear, open, and against the current system. And I thought, man, that gave a big check mark, in my opinion, about him. So I hope he's going to come back, and I want to see what's going to happen because, they want vaccines for kids for school. I mean, it's on another hand, it's a good news for parents because they should homeschool kids.
Yep. True. And not even bother with this college stuff. Most of it is a scam, anyways, for most of the people.
It is. I dropped out after a year and a half. Thank God. It took me that long to drop out. But,
even in the sciences, they get subverted. It's ridiculous. You're a white Muslim, right? You're a white Muslim?
Absolutely.
What's your country again?
Chechnya. I was born in Chechnya.
Okay.
North of Caucasus Mountains.
All right.
Mountains.
So you're Caucasian.
Yeah. Caucasian, yeah. I'm kind of, Jesse had a caller when a guy brought up about creating a new party, and I'm thinking that that's not necessary for Americans to create a new party. What Jesse said, we have to get people accountable. And I was thinking, if we don't get politicians accountable, nothing will change ever.
Yeah.
We're going to get beautiful rhetoric, like narratives, beautiful speech, but nothing will change for people. Instead of creating something new that has potential to be corrupted, you have to start people accountable, and that's it. Your leaders, right, that you elect.
Yeah.
And that way, it's much more efficient and practical way to fix the situation because it's within. We have to first fix
a year
ourselves.
ago, wasn't there a year ago in Canada an election for the prime minister where Trudeau was running against a couple of conservative guys or supposedly conservative guys? There was. Who were you for back then?
I'll be honest. I checked out of the main mainstream media a long time ago, like 5 years ago. So
did you vote?
I'm not. I have not because I haven't. None of them satisfied in a way that because I knew I had a feel. That's why Trump singled out, and Trump was like a template for the rest of the world.
Right.
He was super dangerous, not just for like whatever American politics. He was dangerous for Europeans, for Chinese because they communists. They don't want people get wrong ideas. I think there was a issue in China because of Trump, because in those capital cities they start like supporting Trump. I looked at the Trump. I like my teacher said, substitute teacher, when I first came to Canada in 2002, I came, but in 2002 in school, he said, Canada does exactly what America is doing. So we're following America simply because it's 80% border and 80% of our trade depends on the United States. And it makes logical sense. We just need America to make a move, and then we'll follow.
I have pictures of Chechens in the folder. I want to ask.
Oh my God! Did you Google that?
Yeah, I Googled Chechens, and so I want to ask: do you have a long beard?
I don't have a long beard, but I have a beard because I think any man that has a beard growing, he has to let it go to a certain extent.
Okay.
Don't go crazy because you start looking like a wizard.
Right.
But keep it nice and clean. And
And since you're a Muslim, do you have one of those short mustaches? A short mustache?
No, I
Do you have a mustache?
Well, I have a mustache, but it's a little shorter than the beard, simply
Right.
because when you eat food,
Yeah,
it can
obviously.
get messy.
Yep.
Yeah, so
True.
I'm trying to keep it clean.
All right.
Yeah, and what I wanted to say,
So that's Gabriel.
James, gotta catch up some
Google.
gravy with a tea time with Barry and Terry. Have a good one, James.
Thank
God
you.
willing, I'll call again.
Sounds good, Gabriel. Take care.
Bye.
All right. Gabriel or Gabriel is the Americanized version of it. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Before I get to Chad in Alberta, Canada next, he wants to talk about evolution. They're pushing CNN, health. Give me a break. CNN, health, those two things don't go together. CNN is pro-LGBTIQ. How is that healthy? And plus, it's a bunch of female feminists for abortion. How is that healthy? Not. But anyway, this guy, Scotty Andrew, wrote this article about how to cautiously hug in the pandemic now that it's allowed in the UK. I forgot all about this, but the UK had banned hugging. You're not allowed to hug. Not that I'm into that stuff. But now they're allowing cautious hugging, according to, or not now, next week, I guess, UK officials will give residents the green light to resume cautious hugging. And some doctor, Schaffner, says, if an unvaccinated person wants to hug someone else, they should wear a mask and make it brief. Cringe, huh? They're just meddling, nitpicking, micromanaging, getting their little fingers in every aspect of your life. A cautious hug is outdoors without face-to-face contact. Doesn't last very long, according to what these physicians are saying. Doctors don't care about your health. They care about making you comfortable when you're dying and giving you pharmaceuticals and making money off of the pharmaceuticals because you want pharmaceuticals to diminish the symptoms of what you're doing wrong. They don't fix what you're doing wrong for the most part. So anyway, this is just a silly side note thing. Kids who aren't eligible for the vaccine can hug their vaccinated loved ones around the waist. No kisses. It's sick. Keep your face away from the face of the person you're hugging is key. Gross, huh? Anyway. That's some sick stuff. Quickly, speaking of Canada, let me get to Chad in Alberta, Canada. He wants to comment on this evolution stuff. What's up, Chad? Thank you for holding, man.
Hey, how's it going, Hake?
Going well.
Sorry, James.
That's fine.
Yeah, second time calling in. You're getting a lot of Canadian callers lately. And,
yeah.
I don't know. It's just, I looked up Darwin's book here, the original one. What is it? Hang on a sec. Got it right here.
Origin of Species?
The Origin of Species. But
yeah,
underneath it says, or the preservation of favored races in the struggle for life.
Right.
That's pretty interesting, right?
Yep.
So
eugenics.
Yeah, I think. Go ahead.
Eugenics. I wasn't going to say anything else.
Yeah, eugenics.
Yeah.
For sure. So yeah, it's a big lie. It's poisonous. The thing is, there's absolutely no proof whatsoever that evolution is actually true.
Right.
Now, I do believe that, animals, there's different species, right? So, God probably created an original dog at the beginning, but then you get all these different types of dogs, right? Later on. So I believe it's like there is speciation, but you're right about mutations are not good.
Right.
And yeah.
But the whole pretense about evolution is that a mutation improves the whole race by adding.
It does not.
Like a fish grew legs and came on the sea. That type of stuff.
Oh, I just don't understand how people can actually
came on the land.
I I look at it like it's like a religion for them. You know, they have
Right.
faith in believing that's true.
Yeah.
And you know, you ask the question, you know, like how did the circulation system, like our veins and heart and everything, like what evolved first?
Right.
Like, did blood evolve first? Did the heart? Like how did the heart evolve if there was no blood? Right? Like how did veins develop if there was no blood? It's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
And you know, they say the eye developed because, you know, we were probably blind at one time, and then there was an irritation on the skin, and then. But you look at the complexity of an eye. It's absolutely absurd.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. It's just
Blind people don't believe in God.
that's right.
Or they don't. I mean, that's really blind and arrogant. Yeah.
It is.
Interesting, man.
And there's no way that, you know, that we come from pond scum, you know, that we just evolved from, you know, like there was an original molecule and all this stuff. But I was watching this guy named Dr. James Tour on YouTube, and he builds nano machines, right? He's like a chemist, and he's into, you know, chemical biology and everything else. He did a whole talk on the impossibility that we evolved, like chemical evolution.
Right.
It's impossible. It's because, you know, like they're like, well, you know, like it happened in the sea, you know, near a vent, you know, a heat vent, and then these molecules formed, and then it moved over to a colder area, and it came back to a warm, you know, there's no way that this could have happened.
Right.
The mathematical numbers are just are astronomical.
Yeah.
They say that the chance that evolution actually exists is like 10 to the 70 trillionth power.
Yeah.
So like 10 with 70 trillion zeros after it.
That is crazy.
You know,
it's
just
it's
insane.
Lin Yen Chin gave me that super chat earlier, or I don't know if it was even a super chat, but he mentioned something that caught my eye about how liberals call themselves evolved. And evolved doesn't mean better. Barack Obama said that he evolved, speaking of Obama, the simp, he evolved to support so-called same-sex marriage, which he's lying. He supported it all along. He was just lying about supporting traditional, real marriage, actual marriage. He's a phony. And so evolution is always degenerative nowadays.
It is.
Yeah. Crazy.
There's a lot of scientists out there that believe in the creation, right? There's secular ones and there's
right.
those that believe in creation, right? So when a man and a woman get together and they have a child, the child gets half the information from each parent. But these scientists are saying you actually lose information every time that happens.
Wow.
So if anything, we are devolving.
Man.
You know, there used to be a golden age where they talk about people used to live over 900 years, right?
In the Bible, yeah, according to what the Bible was saying, yeah.
And
that's cool.
Over time, we've lived less and less and less.
Yeah.
It's, you know, after the flood, you know, no one ever lived to be 900. I think the oldest was about 300 and some in the Bible, but no, it is poisonous. It's Satan's lie. You know, it was interesting. I heard one guy say that it all started in the Garden of Eden.
How old are you, Chad?
I'm 48.
Okay, nice.
I'm the guy that called in there about there's no such thing as black and white.
Oh, okay.
You know, remember that conversation?
Yeah, I vaguely remember it. Yeah.
That was a good conversation, actually. Your point of view, I really liked that. It was pretty cool. So,
yeah, you have to deal with what's here.
Differently now.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk again, Chad. Appreciate it, man.
No, love that. And I originally called about Israel, but I think I'll save that for Jesse.
Okay. Yeah, and you can call me tomorrow about Israel if you like, because I do intend to get more to it. But JLP had some great comments about Israel. I saw some people disagreeing online with him, which is fine. Thanks, Chad. Take care.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Quickly, I got to get to Art in Ohio. He's been on hold forever. Art, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm all right. How you doing, Hake?
Doing well. Thank you.
My man. Hey, I want to talk to Hake, and I think Hake want to talk to me, man.
Yep. That I do.
Already. Oh, man, it's my main man. Tell Chris I said, what's up, man? I like that little shirt he had on, man. He looking fly in there today, real fly.
Right
and
on.
then tell Nick, keep up the good work, man. We like him hosting, man. He did a good job hosting for Jesse, man.
Yeah.
It ain't too many. Man, I got to give it to Jesse, man. He got a hard job, man. You can't. Jesse, all the years of him talking to people, he knows how to talk Jesse's the best, man. He'll break you down like nothing, man, like it ain't nothing, man.
Yeah. No, he'll cut through the clutter and be reductionist in the right way. Reduce it down to the just simplicity. It's so nice to hear.
Yeah. And y'all make sure he good and stuff. Make sure Jesse good. I seen that little interview he did with that Tammy and Umar Johnson.
Yeah.
And she gonna tell Jesse, don't be mean, or she said something.
Yeah, she said don't name call because he called Umar or somebody evil.
A liar.
Yeah, evil or a liar. Yeah. And then Umar turns around and calls JLP a coon, and she doesn't correct him.
Did.
She didn't correct him. What a coward.
No, she didn't.
Typical woman, side with the evil guy.
Yes, sir. But that's how. If you notice, that's how them college-educated black females is, and the dudes are too, man. And Umar Johnson, God bless him or whatnot, man. He got some good information, but I don't really mess with him like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm about 30, 70 with him, man. 30% like him, and the other 70, I don't hate him or nothing. I just, I got a BS detector. I'm low tolerance for the BS.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So my first thing is, man, these liberal blacks, man, they ain't learned nothing from what happened with the Indians, and y'all in 2021 keep taking stuff from these dummies. And don't understand that you're going to keep getting smallpox in your blanket every time you keep taking stuff from these liberals coming to you acting like they your friends, just like they did the Indians with the jewels. They were trying to trade jewels and do a whole bunch of other little trades. Got in good with them and off them. And these Negroes don't know nothing about history. And to this day, they still doing the same thing. And then they keep touching the stove and thinking that they ain't going to get burnt.
I know. It's ridiculous.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then my second thing is, my little broke self up here having to depend on the government because they don't rob me up good. So now I got to turn around and ask them for the money that they robbed and took from me. So long story short, I'm waiting on this stimulus check.
Yeah.
So 8 weeks later, they send me something in the mail talking about I got to verify this and verify that. Long story short, I go on the website. It tells me that you got to have a mortgage, a loan, a whole bunch of stuff. And I'm like, man, half of this, all this stuff that they telling you to have, the IRS telling you to have to verify, I don't have.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And most of the blacks don't have. So it's like y'all talking about this election or whatnot, and the blacks ain't able to vote because they don't have no IDs and this and that. Then you turn around and look at the IRS. What I'm saying is, instead of the IRS asking the people to have loans and have something saying that you don't bought a car before, why don't you just ask them?
I don't know. I don't know what type of. What are you talking about? You're talking about the regular stimulus check?
Yeah, they telling you got to call in or.
I haven't heard that.
Well, that's why I'm telling you right now,
okay.
Because I'm just, So my thing is this: with that, it's like, well, I got the thing automatically sent to my bank account, so that should prove who I am. When I go to my bank account, I got to give them my ID.
Right.
And my social security card to open up a bank card. So why are y'all not the IRS is not making people to show their ID or something like that? They're making rules for people that they know that's going to pertain to the Negroes. Most of the black people don't have no dang on mortgages or no or college or.
Yeah, I don't know what. Are you sure you were applying for the right thing? Because I haven't heard anything like that before.
Well, no, it's already applied. They sent me something saying that you have to verify before they send the stimulus.
Wow, that's
And
weird.
that when you go when you go on the I know it, all of it's weird because that's what it ain't nothing but a big old. What I'm basically telling you is they're putting roadblocks in the thing to deter certain people from following through to go get their stimulus.
Maybe so.
You know what I mean?
That wouldn't surprise me. I mean, they're not efficient people at all. The government is not. But you should talk with a professional about that and get advice on it, on how to deal with that stuff.
Well, that's just, I just wanted to bring that up because just bring that to all your listeners and bring that to your attention because I know you.
It sounds like a headache for sure. It sounds like a headache that you don't want to have to deal with.
And that's what they intend on making it is a headache.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, last thing, I'm talking to one of my buddies or whatnot, and he got to talking about this Muslim talk, and I want to ask the Muslim. I wanted to ask you. Back in the Revolutionary War, when the Negroes was fighting in the war, which I don't seen books with Negro pictures of Negroes and stuff, actual pictures or whatnot of blacks, and they said written in text saying that they were Negroes, not African Americans. It's
right.
between an African American and a Negro.
Yep.
So my thing is this: well, where was the Muslims at in the Revolutionary War? Because they went nowhere around.
So you're saying you're saying that blacks were helping us in the Revolutionary War? They were fighting with us against Britain? You
damn right.
And then the Muslims, Muslims, I haven't heard if they were involved in that war at all. I heard about pirates, the Barbary pirates or something like that. I think they were a problem. Muslim pirates.
Where were they at?
They were.
Where were they at?
They were bugging us. I don't know if they were in that war though.
Were they over here? What part of the land? What part of America was they in, or where were they on the map?
I don't know. I heard about it from that guy who's on Fox and Friends, the curly-haired guy. He wrote a book about it, Barbary pirates, and how we had to deal with the Muslims in the pirate field, out on the sea.
Clearly, out on the sea. Clearly, out on the sea, because they wasn't making no noise. Meaning there were no problems for the Americans in the Union or whatnot with the war or whatnot, because you didn't hear about them in the textbooks. Long story short, so they only came about around like the 1930s or something around that time. I'm just trying to figure out why are they trying to bring Muslims over here to overthrow American Christian to Judea. That ain't gonna do nothing but cause a conflict, the same conflict that you got in the Middle East. And it ain't doing nothing but boiling up and boiling over right now when you keep letting all these people come over into America from Mexico and all these other countries. And it's and truthfully, all the Muslims is doing is basically trying to water down my Negro and Native American history and the history with the Revolutionary War and all that time going back, because they trying to cause a whole bunch of confusion.
I know. It's terrible.
And God bless you, Hake. Tell Chris and everybody I said what's up.
Chris, show your shirt so that people know what he's talking about. Chris is going to show his shirt on the screen here.
Real fresh,
man,
nice and tight.
Man, put that shirt on there. I'm going on there right now.
Nice?
To see it. Put that on there, man. Let me see Chris. Yeah.
Was that from the supporter? Is that
yes,
used from money from
my birthday gift card?
Nice. Shout out to what was that? Base America First.
Base America First.
Awesome. Money
Big
well
Chris.
spent.
Big Chris, hey, and tell the Mexicans, man, they better get off that Democratic Kool-Aid, because
I know
y'all, Mexico is done, man. Y'all don't even understand it. They saying y'all coming over across that border, man. America's setting up to take y'all's land from y'all, and it ain't gonna be the same Mexico that y'all thought. And guess what? In these Democratic areas around here in these certain cities, it's gonna be a hot summer, because the Democrats set it up to be craziness, because a lot of people ain't working, the money's tight.
It's terrible, man. I appreciate it, Art. I gotta run. We're overtime. Take care, man.
Go ahead, man. I'll catch you. Yep, boss.
All right. Tony in California has been on hold forever. I cannot get to you. I'll promise I'll get to you first tomorrow if you... didn't I have to hang up on you yet? Anyway, Tony in California, Maze in Dayton, Ohio. Tony wanted to talk about the pipeline shutdown. Maze wanted to respond to a caller, my favorite caller. Maze is my favorite caller, and wanted to respond to a different caller. And the rest of the callers, I'm sorry, you got to catch the Hake Report tomorrow. Hopefully I'll be live tomorrow. No plans of anything otherwise. TheHakeReport.com for my stuff. RebuildingTheMan.com/church for the Sunday service throwbacks. Barbary Pirates were off of Libya. Hake, says Brandon M. Yeah, I don't know what I'm talking about. Something had to do with America, I thought. But TheHakeReport.com, RebuildingTheMan.com/church. I'll read the rest of your super chats tomorrow morning. Shout out to Jib Jab, thank you, man. And JesseLeePeterson.com for JLP's stuff. Thanks, guys. Take care.
Yeah.